I don't know. I mean, there was, see, the thing is I grew up with this, all these stories over and over and over again, and I knew growing up that there was a sense of safety with my dad that was unparalleled. I don't know with this feeling with other people and their parents or caregivers or people in their lives, uncles, aunts, whatever, had this feeling of complete safety with my dad because you knew that he would pulverize anybody. He had such rage, but he was so amused that people would try and challenge him. So it was this really weird vibe that took over him, like this taunting, menacing thing, but mixed with smirks, like bring it on. But bring it on knowing that you're going to get creamed. Okay, so now we're getting a little bit older. And like again, there's this DV scenario in front of a house in Hollywood, and there was like we were over here, and this was happening in the yard in front, and it sounded as if something was going down. Again, take my rings. Now sometimes I would beg him, don't. I would say, please don't fight, because it scared me. Because even though I knew my dad, it scared me that he would get hurt, like really bad. But luckily that scenario got interrupted by someone in the house, so it wasn't a big deal. My dad actually, speaking of rings, there was, I am not kidding you, a burning house in Hollywood with a bunch of people standing around. And it was like freshly burning. And my dad even didn't really even ask if there was anyone in the house. Again, take my rings. Now, this is not for a fight. It's so the fire didn't burn his fingers off. And he was headed to that house with me screaming and begging. Again, authorities arrived right at that time. And of course, you know, his presence was not necessary. So there's just no description for my dad. You know, now he had nothing on my mom in terms of charisma and testicular fortitude, excuse the gender reference, because my mother once was driving down the street in the bowels of Hollywood with my stepfather and saw I don't know, a pimp be, you know, creaming his employee, sex worker. And my mom leapt out of the car. Sorry to be off on a little bit on this, but this is who he married. And jumped out of the car with my stepfather honking the horn, ran over, got between the pimp and the sex worker, found out what the problem was that she had snatched his keys and tossed them. And anyway, she intervened, got the keys, and he stopped, and she stopped. Whoa. So, you know, they were kind of a perfect pair at one point, 10 years, who knew? So there was also an element, and I'll kind of leave you with this. You never quite knew if he was play fighting or really fighting. Now, I could tell the difference, but I also knew this play fight part of him, which was kind of a little, spooked me a little bit too. An old, well-known actor friend of his, Michael Pataki, was one of these that liked to brawl with him pretty heavily, but it was for fun. Again, Oliver Reed, the famous sexist actor, British actor, who again did a whole movie with my dad. I'm going to do a whole episode on that. But again, they did a movie together, and Oliver Reed notoriously is like a badass, but not with my dad. So Oliver Reed had the whole penthouse of the L'Hermitage Hotel in Beverly Hills. My dad went to visit, and of course, they're brawling and wrestling to the point where the hotel almost had to kick Oliver Reed out. So again, there was this, the playful and the angry were just as menacing, but the playful, I saw the smile while he was creaming, and the other one, he was not smiling so much. So, you know, between the stories I grew up with, seeing it in action, my mom made the mistake of knocking a sandwich out of his hand when I was very, very young. No DV, but he bolted chasing her for her dear life down the hall, and he spanked her like a little girl over his knee. My dad. Okay, so I hope you got the gist of it. You know, that trepidation as to what was going to go down when he said, "Hold these," because he loved turquoise rings, and they would have done a lot of damage. So that was the gist of the preview, and that's the show. I probably went over. I'll clip it in case it's too much, but it is a fascinating topic. You had to have known him, but the growing up with it and the seeing it in action was kind of two pieces of the show. So I love and adore ya. As you know, I'm going to let you go, and until tomorrow, another show, good one. And I try to mix it up. And preview, clips, teaser. Okay, take care. Thanks for being with me again, and I'll see you tomorrow.